Nights at Freddy's. So I watched the movie yesterday, the 24th of October. I think among the first people in the world to see it. Maybe. I could be wrong. I mean, I think I was. I like to feel special, so let's pretend I was. Anyway, in this video, I will be talking about my opinions. There will be spoiler-free sections and spoiler sections, so I'll mark those very clearly. I also did an AMA on Instagram where people asked me questions, so I will be responding to those. I will also divide that into spoiler-free and spoiler sections, so don't worry about it. Also, probably don't read the comments until after you've seen the movie because I imagine there's gonna be spoilers down there. I'll talk about spoiler-free opinions now, then I'll give you a timestamp. I'll be very clear when I start talking about spoilers, so don't worry. We hate ruining the experience for other people. Alright, let's begin. So, spoiler-free opinions and thoughts. Let me say this first. I enjoyed the movie. I do think a big part of why I enjoy the movie is because it is very nostalgic to me. I have been consuming and enjoying this franchise ever since the beginning back in 2014. When it first released, I watched all the playthroughs, all the theories. I was all over that shit. I grew up with this game, technically. I mean, I was 19 when it released, so it's not like I was a kid. I was a teenager, but I was not a kid. I still grew up with it. It is very nostalgic to me, and I really think that contributed to my personal enjoyment of the movie because it was just really cool and almost surreal in a way to see animatronics in a live action setting in a very realistic way. I need those little bunny ear quotation marks because I mean, it's not very realistic to have murderer animatronics trying to kill people, you know, that's not very realistic, but you know what I mean. It was really cool to see them interacting with real life people and in real life locations. It's really cool. It's really cool. I was worried before seeing the movie that the animatronics would not be robotic enough, like you would be able to see that there's a human inside, or, you know, like they would move way too smoothly, so it would be like, okay, these aren't animatronics, they're actually just people in suits. It actually looks really good. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh, some of these movements, they don't look like I was hoping they would look like. But in the movie, it looked a lot better than I had been expecting. So the acting was great by Pandream, honestly. Elizabeth Leal and Josh Hutcherson in the same movie. I was like, I don't know where my eyes are gonna go. Piper Rubio, super skilled, super amazing. Matthew Lillard, super skilled, super amazing. Good acting all around. I'm really happy. The shots were really cool. Again, I'm not gonna talk about spoilers here, so looking at it, seeing it, hearing it. Quality? Good. It's definitely made for all kinds of people in the sense of you will be able to understand the plot and the characters and the roles and the animatronics and everything like that. You will be able to understand that even without having played the games before, but it definitely is a lot more fun being able to point at things and be like, that's a reference, that's an Easter egg, I understand that. It's like a little scavenger hunt while watching the movie. I like that. I do think the best way to experience this movie is to leave your expectations at the door. That's what you should do with every movie, honestly, especially if you're an OG fan, I would say, because knowing everything that we do know about like the story and lore, it might be hard to avoid any expectations. Your expectations might be up here, and then you might watch the movie and be like, oh, that's not what I expected. Remember that this is a new medium. FNAF has never been told in this way before. We've had games and we've had books. We've never had a movie before. Obviously, that's why this is such a big deal. This is the first time we get a FNAF movie, so keep an open mind. Enjoy this as something that's standing on its own two legs. It is made for the fans, but it is friendly for newcomers. A lot of love was put into the making of this movie, and it definitely shows. Okay, I think that's it for the non-spoiler parts. Let's hop into the spoilers. So from here on out until this timestamp on the screen right now, I will also put it as like a chapter in the video. I don't know what they call it, but yeah. People on Instagram ask me questions about the movie and I will answer those. If you want to see questions that are non-spoilery being answered, then jump to this timestamp. This is your one and only warning. Okay, spoilers. The first thing is I woke up this morning and I read a review by someone saying that the plot was like generic and basic, and I do have to say that it's hard to tell the story that they want to tell in the movie in a different way. It can't be a direct translation of what happens in the games, at the first game especially, because the plot there is even more basic. In the first game, you sit in the same room for 5 nights in a row. Like, imagine that as a movie. I know there is a lot of lore in the first game, but that lore is stuff that is very hidden, things that people figured out by theorizing and actually looking at, you know, like little drawings on the wall. Like if you were part of the FNAF fandom back when the game released, you didn't get the full lore by just playing the game and then not thinking about it more. You had to think, you had to use your brain power. It was like a whole ass puzzle trying to figure out the real story behind it all. That's the whole charm of the franchise. It's like there's so much hidden stuff. You can't do that in a movie. Additionally, if the plot had been even more complicated and convoluted like the games are, it would have garnered criticism for that instead. Like the movie Tenet. If you look at the reviews for that, a lot of the negative reviews are people saying that it's overly complicated and pretentious, and it's like, you can't please everyone. I feel like the plot that they do have in the movie is a decent middle ground for what they want to convey, which is just haunted animatronics killing people. Also, I mean, there's a lot of questions I have about the movie. I'm not gonna dive into theories in this video because I feel like I need to process the movie a bit more, but there's definitely stuff that feels like Scott put in there, because you know how Scott is. He adds in these little things so that people will theorize and have questions, and it definitely feels like there's stuff like that in the movie. It is very faithful to the games in that regard. The basic plot, the face value plot, yeah, it might be simple, but then you have all these extra things that you spot and you're like, wait. It's kind of on several levels in that regard. Like, to people who are new to the franchise, they might take the movie at face value and be like, okay, this is the basic plot and that's all there is to it. Cool, I'm done watching the movie. Awesome, here are my thoughts on it. But then the people that have been playing the games or watching the games, or people who are invested in the lore, understand that there is more to it. Does this make sense? I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I have like a few notes, but I'm mostly just sitting here drinking my tea, just word vomiting. So if I do have to clarify anything, please let me know in the comments and I will. It's great to see Matthew Lillard play a bad guy again, because the first Scream movie is one of my favorite horror movies, and he's just a very versatile actor. Like, he plays Stu in Scream so well, he plays Shaggy so well, and now he essentially plays two roles in the FNAF movie, two different personas. One of those personas is very calm, he seems like a trustworthy dude to a point, but then when it comes out that he is William Afton, he just goes full on, like he is not the same person. In a movie setting, I like that they're doing that, because his screen time, when it is revealed that he is William Afton, he's not in the movie a very long time. I think because of how little screen time Matthew Lillard has as William Afton, I like that they're emphasizing his type of speech and mannerisms. You do want to emphasize that he is a killer, he's a bad guy, he's got something wrong with him. I liked his portrayal because I like Matthew Lillard, and Matthew Lillard can't do no wrong. The one thing that I did not particularly love, I didn't hate it, but it was more kind of like a meh moment for me, is how they initially made the animatronics seem like super cute and sweet, not only to just Abby but to Mike as well. I personally would have preferred them being like sinister and evil from the start. Maybe not at Abby, but at least at Mike. Look at them building a fort together. Like, it was just, I don't know. I understand that they had to show how Abby started trusting them and how they managed to lure her in. They had to make Abby trust them, and so obviously they had to be sweet and kind. Like, I totally understand. From a movie perspective, from a storytelling perspective, I totally understand why they made that choice. But just to me personally, I find them a lot more creepy when you don't see that sweet side. You might hear about it, like they used to be super popular with the kids back in the day, and then every single time that you see these animatronics, they are terrifying. And I personally would have loved for that to be the case, instead of seeing them build a fort together. But again, I understand why they did what they did. It's not ruining the movie for me, it's just a personal thought. There were some parts that I really enjoyed too, like short snippets that I just loved. There's this one shot of a guy who breaks into the establishment. The camera is focusing on him, but in the background, you can see Chica walk past, and it's such a subtle, like you obviously see it. It's not like subtle as in like, oh, you have to pay attention to see it. Like, no, you will see it, but the focus is not on Chica moving behind him. It's just such a cool shot because that is the moment you see the animatronics actually move around. And it's so cool. I love that it's out of focus like that, because in the games, you don't actually see the animatronics move. You might be looking at them in a camera, they're there, and then you switch off that camera, and then you switch back, and they're gone. You don't physically see them move. The movement is never in focus in the first games. And then in the movie, the first time you really see an animatronic, I think it's the first time. I might be misremembering. But either way, fuck it. The fact that when you do see the character move, it's not in focus, it's just in the background. It's just something so cool about it. I don't know. I love that shot so much. Also, Foxy's movement, I was really worried that it was gonna look janky and awkward, how Foxy runs and is really, really fast. But the way that they did it was really good. The flickering lights and just seeing him in the distance, and then the next moment he's in your face. I love that. It's so cool. Those two shots really stand out to me. It's so cool just seeing the animatronics move around like that in a realistic space. It's making me emotional. Like, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. It's so cool. as of right now, those are the initial thoughts I have about the movie. I don't want to dive into theories or give it a rating. I want to process it some more. I mean, I just saw it last night. I like giving myself more time to kind of process what it is that I've seen and think about it some more, but I did enjoy it. It's not gonna be for everyone. But no movie is for everyone. That's just not how it works. People are gonna be different in the way that they see this movie and what they think about it. But yeah, those are the initial thoughts. Let's dive into the AMA part of it all. So I told people on Instagram, if you wanna follow me on Instagram, you can. Just saying, sometimes I have some cool stuff on there. Ask me anything about the FNAF movie. What do you wanna know? I will be dividing this into 2 parts as well. I will do one section that is full of spoilers, which is this one, and then I will do another part where I will answer questions that do not involve any spoilers. So cool. Let's do it. Were there any unexpected characters? I mean, the most unexpected character to me was Matt Pat. I don't know if that was common knowledge, but I didn't know that Matt Pat had a cameo. I knew about Corey because Corey's literally in the trailer, so I mean, we all knew Corey was gonna be in it, but I didn't know Matt Pat was gonna be in it. I mean, I guess I assumed because Matt Pat is such a huge part of the franchise. I just didn't know in what capacity, and then there he was, just like full on acting in the movie, and the lore is just a theory Easter egg, and I was just like, oh my fucking god. Does William get screen time? Yes. Is it set on a new timeline? If you mean by set on a new timeline that it's different from the games, then yeah. I personally see it as something that's a little bit more loosely based on the games. It's not a one-to-one copy. The characters and their relationships with each other are not exactly the way they are in the games. Here we have the names of the characters from the trailer. You can check IMDb, you can check the cast list, and they'll all be listed there. Is there a Springlock scene? Yeah. There is. Is the Living Tombstone FNAF song in the movie at all? Yes. I'm not gonna tell you where, but it is in the movie. What happened in the post-credit scene? If you can't say anything, how good was it? How good was it? What did you just call me? It's actually a mid-credit scene. It's short. It's just funny. It's a little gag thing. There is some stuff in the credits. It's not a post-credit scene, but there is some stuff you're gonna want to sit around for. I'm not gonna say exactly what it is. Do the animatronics have voice lines or perform? They do perform, yes. They don't have voice lines unless you count Foxy's humming, which is really cool. I like that a lot. But yeah, they do perform, and it's actually really cool to see them perform, because it is exactly what you expect it to be. Oh my god, I'm tearing up a bit again. It's not super animated and they're like dancing and stuff. It's just like mouth is moving and they're moving around like this. It's like exactly what you would expect an animatronic performance to look like, and it's so neat. It's cool that they included it, because I didn't even know I wanted to see it until I saw it. Do they show his fazballs? I mean, there's a ball pit. So kinda. Did they say the famous "We Are FNAF" line when they all work together to stop Afton? Does it actually say "We Are FNAF"? This is a bit of a meme, but no, they don't say it. Was there plenty of Spring Bonnie? Not plenty. If they'd shown him a lot more throughout the movie, I feel like the effect wouldn't be as strong. How was William Afton? Oop, I mean Steve Raglan. You could just say Matthew Lillard, it's fine. Great, good. Yeah, very cool. Very nice. I like it. I like it. I like his performance. I love Matthew Lillard, so that's all the spoilers out of the way. Welcome back. Nice to see you again if you're avoiding spoilers. Now I will answer questions that people ask me on Instagram that do not involve spoilers. So yay, let's do this. How is it for a general audience that doesn't know the games? It's a little bit hard for me to put myself in those shoes of people who don't know anything about FNAF, because I've been a fan of the game since 2014. So it's hard for me to say exactly what it's gonna be like for someone who does not know anything about FNAF. But the way that the movie is structured is it will make sense to you. There might be Easter eggs and little references you will not understand if you are not a FNAF fan, but you will understand the movie. You don't need to have any prior knowledge about the franchise at all in order to understand the movie. So you're good. Is the movie emotional? It was a little bit emotional to me because I have been a fan of the franchise since 2014. For the movie plot itself, I mean, there has to be some level of emotion to kind of drag the viewers in. So it fully depends on how receptive you are to certain plot lines. I was not teary-eyed because of the plot. I was teary-eyed because this was so freaking cool. It's nostalgic. Fully depends on you as a person. Are there a lot of jump scares? It's not jump scare focused. I know that's what the games are like, but I feel like it's a good choice to kind of move away from that in a movie. There are jump scares, and the ones that are in there, they have a place. They have a reason, essentially. They're good. Was it worth watching in the cinema? I'm of the opinion that like every movie is worth watching in the cinema if it's something that you want to see. Like, I want to see Oppenheimer, but I'm not gonna sit in a theater for 3 hours because I'm not that invested. I'll see it when I can see it from home, but I didn't want to watch it in cinema because I don't want to hold my piss in for 3 hours. But on the flip side, I think Endgame was 3 hours. I think John Wick 4 was 3 hours, and I happily watched those in theaters because I wanted to personally. I love those movies. To me, yeah, definitely worth watching in cinemas. Get the experience. Heck yeah, why not? Was it truly faithful to the games and lived up to our expectations? Fully depends on your expectations, honestly. Faithful in the ways that mattered, yes. You can definitely draw parallels between the games and the movie. It's not gonna be a one-to-one copy because it just wouldn't work as a one-to-one copy. Were you scared at all in any parts? No, I was more entertained. Horror movies that scare me are ones that are really unsettling in terms of like, they really get under your skin. I think I was too wrapped up in being happy and emotional about this whole thing. That doesn't mean it wasn't scary. Does that make sense? Cool. And that's that for this video. Wow. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I sincerely hope that you do enjoy it once you do watch it. If you have seen the movie, feel free to tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below. I would love to discuss this. If you have any theories about anything at all in the movie, feel free to drop those as well. I am very terrified of FNAF, like playing the games, so I have actually not played them before. Back when the game released, I watched so many playthroughs. I still do. I return to them like at least once a year. I just really enjoy watching other people play FNAF. I've played Security Breach and Security Breach Ruin on this channel, so if you want to go watch my playthrough of that, you can. I will, and I hate that I'm saying this, but I am gonna play more FNAF games soon, sadly. Obviously, I will upload that to this channel once I do so if you want to see me crap my pants, feel free to subscribe. I love horror media, but I am a coward. If you want to see the magic happen live without any edits, because I will stream it on Twitch, feel free to follow me on Twitch. I've said it now, I can't take it back, right? And that's it. I hope you will enjoy or have enjoyed the movie, and cool, I'll see you around. Bye!